The content presented on Truly Woke is created for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes. Welcome to Truly Woke.
Close your eyes for a moment. Think back to your earliest childhood memory. Maybe you remember your first day at school, your birthday, a family vacation, the smell of your grandmother's cooking, or the moment you fell off your bicycle. It feels real, doesn't it? You can almost see the colors, hear the voices, feel the emotions. Now, what if I told you there's a chance that memory never happened? It sounds impossible. After all, memories are the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. They're the foundation of our identity. Every decision you've made, every friendship, every fear, every dream, they all rest on one fragile thing, your memory. But science has uncovered a shocking truth. Your brain is not a perfect recorder. It doesn't store life like a camera. Instead, it rebuilds your memories every single time you remember them. And sometimes, it rebuilds them incorrectly. Which means your brain can create memories that never happened. Not because you're lying, not because you're losing your mind, but because that's simply how the human brain works. This isn't science fiction. It's happening to every one of us, right now. Imagine standing in court. An eyewitness points directly at you. I saw them. Their voice is confident. Their memory seems crystal clear. The jury believes them. The judge believes them. Everyone believes them. Except, months later, DNA evidence proves they were wrong. Completely wrong. The eyewitness wasn't lying. They truly believed what they remembered. But their brain had quietly rewritten reality. Cases like this have happened hundreds of times around the world. Lives have been destroyed because of memories that felt absolutely real. Now imagine something even stranger. Millions of people around the world remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison during the 1980s. They remember watching the news. They remember conversations. They remember the emotions. Except, none of it happened. Nelson Mandela was released from prison in 1990. He later became South Africa's president, and he died decades later in 2013. So, why do so many people remember something that never occurred? This strange phenomenon became known as the Mandela Effect. It raises an unsettling question. If millions of people can share the same false memory, how many of your own memories are actually true? Your brain performs one of the most complicated tasks in the universe. Every second, your eyes receive millions of pieces of visual information. Your ears capture thousands of sounds. Your skin senses pressure, temperature, movement. Your nose detects countless smells. Your brain cannot store all of it. If it tried, it would quickly become overwhelmed. So instead, it does something incredibly clever. It edits reality. It throws away what it thinks doesn't matter. It fills in missing details. It connects separate moments into one story. Most of the time, this shortcut works beautifully. But sometimes, it creates memories that never existed. Think about watching a movie. Days later, you can remember the story. Weeks later, you remember only the major scenes. Months later, your mind starts filling in the missing pieces. Eventually, you become confident about scenes that were never even in the film. That's because memory isn't like opening a video file. It's more like rebuilding a puzzle. Every time you remember something, you reconstruct it, piece by piece. And every reconstruction is slightly different. Tiny details change. Emotions shift. New information slips in, without you realizing it. Scientists have compared memory to writing with wet ink. Each time you touch it, it smudges a little. The next time, it changes again. Years later, the original picture may be almost impossible to recover, yet you'll still feel certain it's accurate. That's the frightening part. Confidence. doesn't equal accuracy. People with false memories often sound more confident than people remembering the truth, which means you cannot judge a memory simply by how convincing it sounds. Now here's the twist. Someone else can change your memories without you noticing. A simple question, a photograph, a suggestion, a conversation, even watching a movie can quietly rewrite your past. And once your brain accepts the new version, it becomes almost impossible to separate fact from fiction. Imagine that. Your past changing without time travel, without magic, simply because your brain is trying to help you make sense of the world. But if memories can be rewritten, how do detectives solve crimes? How do historians uncover the truth? How do scientists trust eyewitness accounts? And perhaps the most disturbing question of all, can you really trust your own mind? The answer begins with one woman, a psychologist whose experiments shocked the scientific world, angered lawyers, changed police investigations forever, and proved something that most people refused to believe. That with only a few carefully chosen words, she could make ordinary people remember events that never happened. Her name was Elizabeth Loftus, and what she discovered forever changed our understanding of the human mind. Imagine dedicating your life to proving something that almost nobody wants to believe. Not because it's difficult, but because it's terrifying. If you're right, then every person on Earth has been trusting something. That cannot always be trusted. That was the mission of psychologist Elizabeth Loftus. Long before the internet, long before social media, she began asking a question that sounded almost ridiculous. Can someone be convinced to remember an event that never happened? Most experts laughed. Of course not. A memory is a memory. If someone clearly remembers something, surely it must have happened. After all, why would anyone invent a childhood memory without realizing it? But Loftus wasn't interested in assumptions. She wanted evidence. And evidence would soon shake the foundations of psychology, and even the justice system. The car crash experiment. It began with something surprisingly simple. Volunteers watched a short video of two cars crashing. Nothing unusual. After the video ended, researchers asked everyone the same basic question. Except, there was one tiny difference. Some participants heard this question about how fast were the cars going when they hit each other? Others heard about how fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other. Only one word changed, hit, or smashed. Surely, one word couldn't make much difference, right? It did. People who heard the word smashed estimated much higher speeds. But that wasn't the most shocking discovery. 1 week later, researchers asked another question. Did you see any broken glass? Here's the strange part. There was no broken glass. Not a single piece. Yet many participants confidently answered, yes. Why? Because one simple word had quietly changed the memory itself. Their brains filled in details that matched the idea of a violent crash. A stronger impact must mean broken glass. Except, reality never contained it. Your brain loves stories. The human brain hates incomplete information. Whenever there are missing pieces, it creates them. Think about reading a mystery novel. Your mind constantly predicts what happens next, who the villain is, why something happened, how the story ends. Memory works in a similar way. It doesn't simply replay the past. It builds the most believable version of the past. Sometimes, that version is accurate. Sometimes, it isn't. The shopping mall experiment. Then came an experiment so unbelievable. Many people thought it was impossible. Researchers contacted volunteers' family members, parents, older siblings, relatives. They collected real childhood memories, a birthday party, a family vacation, learning to ride a bicycle. Then, researchers secretly added one fake story. It claimed that when the volunteer was around 5 years old, they had wandered away from their family, got lost inside a shopping mall, cried in fear, and were eventually rescued by an elderly stranger. It sounded realistic. It sounded emotional. Most importantly, it had never happened. The volunteers were then asked to remember each childhood event, one by one. They described the real memories. Then they reached the fake one. At first, many hesitated. I don't remember this. That should have been the end. But researchers encouraged them gently. Take your time. Try to picture it. Maybe it'll come back. A few days later, something astonishing happened. Many participants returned, not only believing the fake event, but adding their own details. They described the color of the stranger's clothes, the fear they felt, the sounds inside the mall, the relief when they found their parents. Every detail felt vivid. Every emotion felt real, except none of it had ever happened. The memory had been built from imagination. When imagination becomes reality, think about that for a moment. Your imagination can slowly become your memory. The more you imagine something, the more familiar it feels. And your brain often mistakes familiarity for truth. Have you ever wondered whether you locked your front door? You picture yourself locking it. Then suddenly, you're not sure. Did it really happen? Or did you only imagine it? Your brain struggles to tell the difference. Why confidence can fool us, perhaps the most dangerous part of false memories, is confidence. We naturally trust confident people. Someone who hesitates seems uncertain. Someone who speaks firmly appears truthful. But research tells a different story. People with completely false memories can be just as confident, sometimes even more confident, than people remembering real events. Confidence is not proof. Memory. The ripple effect. These discoveries spread far beyond psychology labs. Police officers began changing how they questioned witnesses. Lawyers started rethinking eyewitness testimony. Judges became more cautious, because investigators realized something frightening. Even well-meaning questions could accidentally plant false memories. Instead of asking, "Did you see the man with the knife?" investigators learned to ask, "What did you see?" One question suggests an answer. The other lets memory speak for itself. A tiny difference. That can change someone's entire recollection. The bigger mystery. If researchers can influence memories using only words, what else shapes your past? Every conversation, every family story, every old photograph, every movie, every social media post. Every time someone says, "Remember when?" your brain quietly opens the file, edits it, and saves it again, without asking your permission, without warning you, without leaving any trace. Which means some of the memories you treasure most may not be exactly as they happened. Not because you're dishonest, not because your brain is broken, but because your brain was never designed to preserve the past perfectly. It was designed to help you survive. And sometimes, survival matters more than perfect accuracy. But if our memories can be rewritten so easily, why did evolution allow such a flawed system? Wouldn't a perfect memory be better? Surprisingly, the answer is no. In the next chapter, we'll uncover why forgetting is actually one of your brain's greatest superpowers, and why a perfect memory might be one of the worst abilities a human could have. Imagine if you could remember every single second of your entire life, every face you've ever passed on the street, every conversation, every number you've ever read, every leaf you've ever seen, every mistake, every embarrassing moment, every painful goodbye. Nothing would ever disappear. At first, it sounds like a superpower. But what if it's actually a curse? Meet a woman named Jill Price. In the early 2000s, doctors met someone unlike almost anyone else on Earth. She possessed a rare condition known as highly superior autobiographical memory, or HSAM. Ask her what happened on almost any date from decades ago. She could tell you, not just the major events, but the weather, what she ate, what she ate, what day of the week it was, what song was playing on the radio. For most of us, yesterday already feels blurry. But for Jill, every yesterday remained alive. Scientists were amazed. Surely this was the perfect memory humans had always dreamed of. But as they spent more time with her, they discovered something unexpected. Jill couldn't forget. Painful memories returned, with the same emotional intensity they had the day they happened. Old arguments, heartbreak, loss, embarrassment. Nothing faded. Imagine reliving the worst day of your life, not as a distant memory, but as if it happened this morning. Again, and again, for decades. Forgetfulness, turns out, isn't a flaw. It's a form of healing. Your brain isn't trying to record history. It's trying to help you survive. Think about our ancient ancestors. Thousands of years ago, a hunter walks through a forest. He hears a sudden growl. His brain doesn't need to remember. Every leaf on every tree. It only needs to remember one thing. Danger lives here. That memory could save his life. Everything else? Unimportant. So evolution built a brain that stores what matters most. Not everything. This is why emotional moments stay with us. You probably don't remember what you ate exactly 37 days ago, but you probably remember your first kiss, your graduation, a terrifying accident, or the phone call. That changed your life forever. Emotion acts like a highlighter. The stronger the emotion, the stronger the memory. At least, that's what we assume. But even emotional memories can change. Researchers discovered something remarkable. Every time you remember an event, your brain briefly opens that memory, almost like opening a document on your computer. For a short moment, it's editable. Scientists call this process memory reconsolidation. Once the memory is open, new information can quietly slip inside. Then, your brain saves the memory again. Only now, it's slightly different. You don't notice the edit, because to you, it still feels like the same memory. Imagine opening an old family photo. Each time you look at it, someone secretly changes one tiny detail. Maybe a different shirt, a different smile, a different background. The changes are so small, you never notice. Years later, the photo looks completely different, yet you swear, it's always looked that way. That's how memory works. Not all at once, but little by little. Now ask yourself something. Have you ever argued with someone about the past? Both of you completely certain. Both of you convinced you're right. One says, "It happened on Friday." The other insists, "No, it was Saturday." One remembers laughing. The other remembers crying. Who's telling the truth? Perhaps both are. Because neither person is remembering the original event. They're remembering the last version their brain saved. And every replay changes the file just a little. The more often you tell a story, the more opportunities your brain has to rewrite it. Which means your favorite childhood story may actually be a blend of reality, family conversations, photographs, and imagination, without you ever realizing it. This is why historians compare eyewitness accounts, why detectives rely on physical evidence, why scientists repeat experiments. Because human memory, powerful as it is, can never be treated as perfect proof. But here's something even stranger. What if someone could deliberately manipulate your memory? Not with hypnosis, not with science fiction technology, just by repeating a lie again and again and again until your own brain accepts it as reality. It sounds impossible, yet history has shown that entire nations can begin to remember the world differently. Not because the past changed, but because the story changed. In the next chapter, we'll uncover how propaganda, advertising, social media, and repetition can influence what millions of people believe they remember, and why your brain often mistakes familiarity for truth. Imagine waking up tomorrow and remembering everything, not just the important moments, not just your wedding, your graduation, or your first kiss. Everything, every conversation, every meal, every mistake, every insult, every embarrassing moment, every tear you've ever cried, every second of every day. At first, it sounds like a superpower. Who wouldn't want perfect memory? No more forgetting names, no more lost keys, no more missed birthdays. It sounds like the ultimate human ability. But what if perfect memory is actually a curse? In the early 2000s, scientists met people who possessed an extraordinary condition. They could remember almost every day of their lives. Ask them about a random date, 10, 15, even 20 years ago, and they could tell you exactly what they were doing, what they ate, what they wore, what the weather looked like, what songs were playing on the radio. It was as if their lives had been recorded, frame by frame. Researchers called this condition highly superior autobiographical memory. Only a tiny number of people in the world are known to have it. At first, scientists were amazed, but as they spent more time with these individuals, a darker truth emerged. One woman described her memories as a movie that never stops playing. She couldn't forget arguments. She couldn't erase painful moments. Every heartbreak, every humiliation, every loss returned with the same emotional intensity as the day it happened. Imagine reliving your worst day again and again and again. Not because you choose to, but because your brain refuses to let it go. Now think about your own life. Have you ever been embarrassed? Maybe you tripped in front of a crowd, forgot your words during a presentation, sent a message to the wrong person. At the time, it felt like the end of the world. But today, you probably laugh about it. Why? Because time softened the memory. Your brain slowly removed the emotional weight. It allowed you to heal. For people with near-perfect autobiographical memory, that healing is much harder. The pain stays fresh. The emotions remain vivid. Sometimes, the past feels more real than the present. Suddenly, forgetting doesn't seem like a weakness anymore. It begins to look like a gift. Your brain isn't trying to remember everything. It's trying to remember what helps you survive. Every day, your senses collect an unimaginable amount of information, the exact number of leaves on a tree, the pattern of every floor tile, every face you pass on the street, every sound in the background. If your brain stored every tiny detail forever, you'd drown in information. You wouldn't know what truly mattered. So instead, your mind becomes an editor. It keeps the meaningful moments. It fades the unnecessary ones. It compresses years of experience into lessons. Think of your brain like the library of the world. If every single piece of paper were placed on the front desk, you'd never find the book you actually need. So the librarian organizes, sorts, and sometimes throws things away. Your memory works the same way. Forgetting isn't failure, it's organization. But here's the mystery. If forgetting protects us, why do some painful memories stay forever? Why can someone forget what they ate yesterday, yet remember a frightening accident from 20 years ago? The answer lies deep inside a tiny part of your brain, called the amygdala. Whenever something is connected to powerful emotion, fear, joy, shock, love, grief, the amygdala sends an urgent message. This matters. Don't lose this. That's why you may forget hundreds of ordinary days, but never forget where you were, when something life-changing happened. Emotion acts like a highlighter. It tells your brain, this memory could help you survive in the future. But there's a hidden cost. Strong emotions don't just strengthen memories. They can also distort them. When fear takes control, your attention narrows. You remember the danger, but forget the details around it. Witnesses often remember the weapon, but not the face holding it. Victims may recall the scream, but not the exact sequence of events. The emotional moment becomes larger, while everything else fades into the background. Your brain isn't recording reality. It's recording what it believes is most important. This is why two people can experience the exact same event and remember it completely differently. Neither person is necessarily lying. Neither person is necessarily wrong. Their brains simply chose different pieces of the story. Now imagine millions of people, each carrying their own version of the past. Families, friends, nations, entire civilizations. History itself is built from human memory. And human memory? That question doesn't just challenge psychology. It challenges history. It challenges justice. And perhaps it challenges your own identity. Because if your memories shape who you are, and your memories can change, then how much of the person you believe yourself to be is built on stories your brain quietly rewrote? Picture yourself standing at a crossroads. One path leads to a decision you'll make tomorrow. The other doesn't exist yet. Strange, isn't it? You probably think memories belong to the past. But neuroscientists have discovered something unexpected. The same mental machinery that helps you remember yesterday is also helping you imagine tomorrow. Your brain isn't just a library, it's an architect. Every day, it quietly builds possible futures using pieces of your past. That means memory isn't only about where you've been, it's also about where you're going. Think about planning a vacation. Before you've packed a suitcase, before you've booked a flight, your mind has already taken the trip. You picture the beach, you imagine the weather, you hear conversations that haven't happened, you even predict how you'll feel. None of it is real, yet your brain rehearses it as if it were. This ability is one of humanity's greatest strengths. It helps us prepare, solve problems, avoid danger, and dream beyond the present. But it comes with a hidden cost. The line between remembering and imagining is thinner than most people realize. Have you ever argued with someone about an event you both experienced? One person insists it happened in the morning. The other is certain it happened at night. Neither person is trying to deceive the other. Both are telling the story exactly as they remember it. So, who is right? Sometimes, neither. Because memory doesn't preserve moments like photographs. It rebuilds them. Each reconstruction is influenced by emotions, new experiences, conversations, and expectations. Two people can walk through the same moment and carry away two completely different stories. Researchers have observed something fascinating. When people recall an emotional event, the brain doesn't simply retrieve information. It becomes active in many of the same regions used when imagining future events. In other words, your brain uses the same creative tools, whether it's revisiting the past or exploring the future. That explains why memories sometimes change over time. Every visit leaves tiny fingerprints. A small detail disappears. Another quietly slips into place. The story still feels familiar, but it's no longer exactly the same. Now imagine hearing a family story every year. Perhaps it's about a holiday, a birthday, or something funny that happened when you were little. At first, you're just listening. Years later, you begin to picture it. Eventually, you can almost feel yourself inside the memory. But here's the question. Are you remembering the event? Or remembering the story you've heard 100 times? Sometimes, the two become impossible to separate. Your identity is built from stories, not just facts. Stories. You tell yourself who you are. You tell yourself why certain things happened. You explain your successes. You explain your failures. Over time, those stories become part of your identity, and your brain naturally protects them, even when new evidence suggests they might not be entirely accurate. This isn't weakness. It's how humans create meaning. Imagine opening an old photo album. You see a picture from years ago. Instantly, memories begin flowing back. Or do they? Psychologists believe photographs don't always unlock memories. Sometimes, they create them. A single image can influence how you interpret an entire event. It can highlight one emotion and quietly erase another. That's why two siblings looking at the same family photo may remember completely different childhoods. Not because one is lying, but because each mind built a different story around the same moment. Here's another mystery. Why do embarrassing moments seem unforgettable, while ordinary days vanish almost completely? The answer lies in emotion. Your brain acts like a spotlight. Moments filled with fear, joy, shock, or surprise receive extra attention. They become easier to recall. But even emotional memories aren't immune to change. The emotion often remains, while the details slowly shift. Years later, you still remember how something made you feel, even if the exact events have become blurred. This reveals something extraordinary. Your memories aren't frozen. They're alive. They're constantly adapting. They're helping you make sense of an ever-changing world. In many ways, that's what makes us human. A perfect memory might remember everything, but a human memory learns, adjusts, finds meaning, and sometimes lets go of details that no longer matter. So the next time someone says, "I remember it perfectly," smile, because perfection isn't how memory works. The mind isn't trying to create an exact recording. It's trying to create a story that helps you understand your life. Sometimes that story is incredibly accurate. Sometimes it's beautifully incomplete. But if memory can shape the future, can it also be manipulated on purpose? Can advertisers, leaders, or even social media influence not only what you think, but what you believe you've always remembered? In the next chapter, we'll uncover how memory can be quietly influenced by the world around us, and why recognizing that influence is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. Picture this. You wake up tomorrow morning. You remember celebrating your 10th birthday with a giant chocolate cake. Your friends were laughing. Your parents were smiling. You can almost smell the candles. There's only one problem. It never happened. Not because you dreamed it. Not because someone lied to you. But because technology quietly placed that memory into your mind. Today, this sounds like science fiction. Tomorrow, it may simply be science. For centuries, people believed memories were locked away forever inside the brain, like books stored on dusty shelves, untouched, unchanged. But modern neuroscience tells a very different story. Every memory is alive. Each time you remember something, your brain briefly unlocks it. For a few moments, it becomes surprisingly fragile. Scientists call this process reconsolidation. Think of it like opening an old document on your computer. The moment you click Edit, you can accidentally delete a sentence, add a new paragraph, or change the ending completely. When you save the file, the old version is gone. Your memory works in much the same way. Now imagine someone understands exactly how that process works. Could they influence what you remember? Researchers have already shown that emotions, suggestions, repeated stories, and carefully chosen images can reshape memories over time. This doesn't mean anyone can magically control another person's mind, but it does reveal something important. Our memories are more flexible than they feel, and that flexibility can be both a gift and a danger. Every day, without realizing it, you are surrounded by information competing for your attention. Headlines, short videos, comments, conversations, photos. Some disappear instantly. Others stay with you. But the ones repeated over and over again often begin to feel familiar. And familiarity has a strange effect on the brain. It can create the feeling that something is true, even when you've never verified it. Have you ever heard a statement so many times that eventually you stopped questioning it? Psychologists call this the illusion of truth. The brain loves efficiency. Instead of checking every fact from the beginning, it sometimes uses a shortcut. If I've heard this many times, it must be reliable. Usually, that shortcut saves energy. Occasionally, it leads us in the wrong direction. Now consider social media. Every scroll teaches your brain something. Not only what to think about, but what to remember. The stories you replay, the videos you watch repeatedly, the opinions you engage with. Each one becomes another brushstroke, painting your picture of reality. That picture may be accurate, or it may slowly drift away from the truth. Often, you won't notice the difference. The fascinating part is that your brain isn't trying to deceive you. It's trying to build a world that makes sense. Imagine receiving thousands of puzzle pieces every single day. Some fit perfectly, some don't. Instead of leaving gaps, your brain sometimes fills them automatically. That ability helps you make quick decisions. But it also explains why two honest people can remember the same event completely differently. Neither person is necessarily lying. They're remembering. Different versions reconstructed by different minds. Scientists have even discovered that emotion changes memory. Fear, joy, grief, excitement. These feelings act like powerful filters. Two siblings can grow up in the same house, experience the same childhood, yet describe it years later as if they lived in different worlds. One remembers warmth, another remembers loneliness. The events may be identical. The emotional lens is not. This raises an unexpected question. If memory is always changing, who are you? Are you the person who experienced yesterday, or the person who remembers yesterday? Your identity isn't built only from facts. It's built from the stories your brain tells about those facts. Those stories shape your confidence, your fears, your hopes, even your future. Change the story. And sometimes, you change the person. Thankfully, this also reveals something hopeful. Painful memories are not always permanent prisons. Over time, people can heal, not because the past disappears, but because the brain gradually rewrites how that past is understood. The event remains. Its meaning evolves. That remarkable ability has helped millions recover from trauma, build resilience, and move forward. The same flexible memory that can mislead us can also help us heal. So perhaps the real mystery isn't whether your memory is perfect. It isn't. The real mystery is how a brain full of imperfect memories can still create love, friendship, art, discovery, and hope. Maybe perfection was never the goal. Maybe survival, learning, and growth were always more important than remembering every detail exactly as it happened. The next time you're absolutely certain about something that happened years ago, pause for just a second. Ask yourself, am I remembering the past? Or the last time I remembered it? That single question may completely change the way you think about your own mind. Imagine meeting an older version of yourself, They don't warn you about winning the lottery. They don't tell you which stocks to buy. Instead, they ask you one simple question. Which memories are you creating today? At first, it sounds strange. How can you create a memory that hasn't happened yet? But neuroscience reveals something extraordinary. Your brain doesn't treat the past and the future as completely separate worlds. When you remember yesterday, many of the same brain networks become active as when you imagine tomorrow. In a way, the machine that remembers your past is also the machine that designs your future. Think about planning your next vacation. Before you ever arrive, your mind has already painted pictures. The sound of waves, the warmth of the sun, the excitement of exploring somewhere new. None of it has happened. Yet your brain rehearses it as if it were already real. This ability is one of humanity's greatest evolutionary advantages. Our ancestors didn't survive because they remembered every detail perfectly. They survived because they could imagine what might happen next. They could picture danger before it arrived. They could prepare for tomorrow. Memory became more than a record of the past. It became a blueprint for the future. But every powerful ability has a hidden cost. If imagination and memory share the same machinery, then imagination can sometimes slip into memory without permission. Have you ever been certain you sent a message, only to discover it was still sitting in your drafts? Or walked into a room convinced you came for something important, then completely forgotten why? Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's juggling reality, plans, predictions, and memories, all at the same time. Sometimes those boundaries blur. Researchers have discovered something fascinating. People who vividly imagine future events often feel emotionally connected to them long before they happen. Athletes mentally rehearse competitions. Musicians perform entire concerts in their minds. Astronauts repeatedly imagine emergency situations before launching into space. Why? Because your brain learns from detailed imagination almost as effectively as it learns from experience. It builds pathways, strengthens reactions, prepares decisions. In many cases, practice begins long before action. Now consider the opposite. Imagine repeatedly telling yourself, "I'm going to fail. No one believes in me. I always make mistakes." Even if those thoughts aren't true, repeating them gives them power. Over time, your brain begins treating those imagined futures as likely realities. They shape your confidence, your choices, even the opportunities you notice. The stories you tell yourself today can quietly influence the memories you create tomorrow. There's another remarkable discovery. When people recall meaningful moments, their memories rarely focus on perfect accuracy. Instead, they remember emotion, the excitement before a graduation, the fear during a storm, the laughter shared with friends. Emotion acts like a spotlight. It tells your brain, "This matters." Yet emotion can also distort details. A frightening experience may feel longer than it actually lasted. A joyful afternoon may seem shorter than it was. Your internal clock bends alongside your emotions. This means something beautiful. The most valuable memories in your life may never be perfect recordings. They're emotional masterpieces, carefully reconstructed by a brain that values meaning more than precision. Perhaps that's why two siblings remember the same childhood so differently. Neither one is necessarily lying. Each brain preserved what mattered most to that individual. Their memories became different stories, built from the same moments. Scientists sometimes compare memory to a library that's constantly under renovation. Books aren't simply placed on shelves forever. They're checked out, edited, repaired, rewritten, then returned. Every visit leaves tiny changes behind. Not enough to notice immediately, but enough to make each version slightly different from the last. Your life story isn't carved into stone. It's written in living ink. So, if memory is always changing, who are you? Are you the person you were 10 years ago? Or are you the person your memories have shaped you into today? Perhaps identity isn't built from perfect facts. Perhaps it's built from the meanings we carry forward. Not every detail needs to survive. Sometimes, the lesson matters more than the event itself. As scientists continue exploring the human brain, one truth becomes increasingly clear. Your memory isn't your greatest weakness. It's one of evolution's most extraordinary inventions, flexible enough to adapt, creative enough to imagine, strong enough to guide you, yet humble enough to remind us that certainty should always be questioned. The next time someone says, "I remember it perfectly," smile, because the human mind doesn't deal in perfect recordings. It deals in living stories, stories that grow, change, and quietly shape the people we become. Right now, your heart is beating. Your lungs are breathing. Your eyes are reading these words. And without you noticing, your brain is already deciding which parts of this moment deserve to become tomorrow's memory. Not everything will survive. Most of today will quietly disappear. The exact sounds around you, the position of your hands, the hundreds of tiny details your senses collected, they will fade. Only fragments will remain. And years from now, those fragments will become a story your mind will tell with complete confidence. Throughout this journey, we've uncovered something unsettling. Memories can be reshaped. Suggestions can influence what we remember. Emotions can change the way the past feels. Confidence can exist even when a memory is mistaken. But here's the most important discovery. These imperfections are not signs that your brain has failed. They are signs that your brain is trying to help you. Your mind was never built to act like a perfect camera. It evolved to recognize patterns, to learn from experience, to predict danger, and to help you make decisions for the future. Sometimes that means preserving every detail. More often, it means keeping only what seems most useful. Imagine carrying every second of your life with perfect clarity. Every embarrassing mistake, every painful goodbye, every argument, every fear, every moment of grief. Nothing forgotten, nothing softened by time. Would that really be a gift? Or would it become a burden too heavy to carry? Sometimes forgetting isn't weakness. Sometimes it's healing. Sometimes it's how we move forward. Think about the people who shaped your life. A parent, a teacher, a close friend, someone who believed in you. If you asked your siblings about the same moments, they might tell a completely different story. Not because someone is lying, but because every brain chooses a different path through the same experience. Each of us creates a unique version of reality. That's what makes every human story different. Now ask yourself a question. Who are you without your memories? Your favorite song, your first success, your biggest failure, the lessons you've learned, the promises you've kept. Together, they form your identity. But if memories can change, does your identity change too? In a way, yes. We are not statues carved from stone. We are stories that continue to be rewritten. Every new experience, every conversation, every challenge adds another chapter. You are not only the person you were yesterday, you are also becoming the person you'll be tomorrow. Maybe that's the real mystery. Not whether memories are perfect, but why our minds choose to remember some moments and quietly let others disappear forever. Perhaps the moments we keep are the ones that teach us, protect us, or remind us who we hope to become. Science continues to explore the hidden workings of memory. Researchers still don't know every answer. How are lifelong memories stored? Why do certain smells unlock forgotten moments? Why do some people remember extraordinary detail while others forget within days? Every discovery answers one question and reveals 10 more. the human brain remains one of the greatest mysteries we've ever encountered. So the next time someone says, "I remember it exactly," pause for a moment. Maybe they do. Or maybe their brain has carefully polished the memory over the years, not to deceive them, but to create a story that feels complete. Because our minds don't simply record life, they interpret it, they organize it, they give it meaning. And maybe that's what makes us human. Not perfect memory, not flawless recall, but our ability to learn, to adapt, to forgive, to imagine, and to grow. The past shapes us, but it doesn't have to imprison us. Every sunrise offers a chance to create memories worth keeping. Memories built on kindness, curiosity, courage, and truth. Before you leave, think about one memory that has stayed with you for years. Ask yourself, what makes it unforgettable? Is it every tiny detail? Or is it the feeling it left behind? Because sometimes, the emotion is the most truthful part of the memory, even when the details have faded. The next time your mind whispers, "This is exactly how it happened," remember this. The greatest mystery isn't that memory can change. The greatest mystery is that a collection of electrical signals inside your brain can create a lifetime of love, loss, hope, dreams, and the story you call you. If this documentary made you question the way your own mind works, subscribe to Truly Woke. Every week, we uncover the hidden psychology, forgotten history, scientific discoveries, and mysteries that shape our world. Because sometimes, the most fascinating secrets are hiding inside us.